Hi again, everyone. Welcome to the session. It's Emma here at Function Point, and hopefully you can all see my screen. Today we're going to be going over some of the really cool KPIs you can use on your FP dashboard. So before I hand it over to Omar, I'm just going to go through a couple of screens here. So it is going to be Omar and I piloting today's session, and questions are, of course, welcome as we go. I'm also recording this, so that will be posted later today along with a cool little cheat sheet that Omar's been working on for everyone to have as a takeaway. Questions, of course, welcome as we go. You should see a question area on the GoToWebinar control panel, and yeah, I'll either answer those as we go or I'll wait for Omar to check in with us and then pose them to him live. And we'll make sure that all the questions are answered before we wrap up today. So with that, I am going to, oh, actually, no, I've got one more slide. Haha, look at me go. Our agenda. So today we're going to be going and seeing some of the key performance indicators, KPI, so that you can show on your dashboard and how you can customize a little bit, how you can use those to pull data from how they're pulling data, I should say, from the system, and how you can see the state of your business in real time. So now, second time lucky there, without further ado, Omar, are you there with me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, excellent. I will ask you to speak up just a little bit there. I know you've got
Oh, for
people.
sure.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. All
Is
right.
that better?
That is excellent. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make you the presenter. Oh, I'm
Sure.
going to try that again. It always makes me do it twice. I'm going to make you the presenter, and then what it'll say, it'll give you an opportunity when you're ready. You can share your screen with us. And I think we're going to go probably about a half hour, I guess, depending on the questions we get. And Omar, of course, you're going to very kindly check in with us as we go. So I'm just seeing your, oh, there's perfect. There's your wonderful Planet Express system. But yeah, thanks again, Omar, for doing this. You're really well informed on these. So looking forward to learning from you today. And I'll take it away.
Okay, excellent. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Today I'll be speaking again about the KPI dashboards that we've been releasing for the past few months. And I think you guys really enjoy taking a look at them. Like Emma said, kind of the, I guess, schedule for today's webinar is to kind of go through and get a really good idea of the state of your business in real time regarding what you can see visually on your dashboard. And that covers a wide breadth of information such as utilization, timesheets, jobs, and profit. So without further ado, I guess we'll start from the basics. With the KPIs, they live on your dashboard. Um, at any time, anywhere in the system, you can simply click the dashboard icon located at the top of your screen and go to your dashboard. Now, to actually customize your dashboard to show those KPIs, you can simply customize your dashboard to kind of tailor it to what you need to see at any time that you're working in Function Point. Now, depending on which tile you choose, you'll be given different options to choose what goes in those tiles. Now, every KPI is kind of tailored to a specific sort of tile size, so you may be limited in options in terms of what tile selection you choose. But just to keep it simple, we'll kind of start with kind of a general layout. So, for example, I've chosen one that has kind of two vertical boxes and two horizontal boxes. And we'll kind of start with the utilization summary report, the jobs by company summary, the profit summary, and the job summary KPIs. Okay, great. As you can see, we've loaded into our kind of KPI template, and we'll start with the utilization summary. Now, the utilization summary is kind of a visual representation of our utilization report that is currently available in the reports module. Now, this gives you kind of a more of a summarized view of your billable and target hours, and also kind of keeps your staff honest with regards to their utilization or their efficiency. Excuse me. So this covers the kind of the billable hours and the target. And the billable hours are kind of defined as any kind of work they do with a billing rate that's non-zero on a billable job. And the target hours is defined by the target percentage. That information is specified in the staff details page. So for example, if you want 80% of your staff's work to be billable, you would simply put 80% in their staff details page. So any work they track will go against the utilization summary. And typically at the end of a week or a month, you can kind of compare how much billable work they've done with respect to their target. So for example, as you can see for myself, this month I've been kind of lazy with my work and my timesheets, and only 30% of the work I've done so far this month of March has been billable work. not a good thing, especially in a creative agency. So as you can see, as we kind of mouse over the different parts of the graph, we'll get a kind of a good idea on a daily basis for the month, how much target billable work I should be doing and how much my actual billable is and the utilization. Now the utilization is simply kind of a calculation of the target billable divided by the actual billable, and that gives you the percentage. So for example, on the March 5th, 54% of my work was billable, which can be good or bad depending on the target of the staff member. Are there any questions so far, Emma?
Hey, Omar. Thanks. We don't have questions yet, which is fine, really fine, because you know this one better than I do. So I'm glad no one's asked me anything yet. But do be encouraged, everyone, to ask questions. We'll make Omar answer them. But no, this is very cool so far. So thanks. Keep at it.
Okay, no problem. So with this and other KPIs, you're able to kind of filter the information to tailor to what you need to see. So at the top right corner of the KPI, you'll see kind of a little gear icon. And from here, you can kind of change the filtering options. You can specify, all your staff members or specific roles if you have them enabled in Function Point, as well as specific staff members. So for example, I'm clicking my name, so I want to see my utilization for this month, so the month as in the month of March. Now this can be changed at any time. You can specify different ranges, and if you don't like what you see, you can obviously choose a date range. So you can specify your own range to see your staff's utilization. So for example, we'll do for the week of March 3rd to March 7th, and from there we can see our utilization. So in a short time frame, my utilization is 64%, which is still a little low. But again, you have the same options to kind of mouse over the different days and look at the statistics for your staff or roles. Any questions so far?
No, but that's really cool, Omar. Thanks so much. And thanks for checking in.
No problem. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to the profit summary. Now, the profit summary is a great little financial KPI that gives you kind of health, an idea of the health of your organization with respect to how much you've invoiced, the physical cost of the expenses and your staff, and the profit. Now, invoice is defined as how much you've invoiced for a client or a company or a job, and the cost is the actual staff cost and the expense cost. Now, a lot of people get this confused with actuals, which is not the case. It's your actual cost. So the staff cost is defined as how much you pay your employees on an hourly base, and the actual expense cost, so the actual cost that you incur when you go to a vendor and ask them, hey, can you do this for me? And the variance is the profit, quote unquote, which is basically taking the invoice and minusing it by the cost, and you have kind of a good idea of how profitable you are for a specific date range or specific type of job. Now, like with the utilization summary KPI, you can kind of filter this information to get a different idea or a different outlook on your different types of jobs. Now, you can specify a job status. So, for example, I selected open, so I want to see how profitable my open jobs were. Again, you can specify completed jobs or closed jobs or any other job status that you use in your system. And the date range, the date range lets you kind of specify the where the job will fall in there with respect to when it was open. So, for example, I want to see all jobs that are currently open that were opened in the last 30 days. We'll just wait for the system to generate the profit. Now, keep in mind that, like our other reports, if you kind of choose a really, really long date range, it'll take some time for the system to generate the report for you, but it's worth the wait. So as you can see here, in the last 30 days, I've invoiced for $93,000. It's only cost me $39,000, and my profit is $54,627, which is great. This gives you, again, a real-time look of the health of your organization, how profitable you are, without the need to kind of do any kind of manual number crunching. It gives you just a quick look right off the bat. Any questions so far, Emma?
No, we've got a quiet bunch today, which is okay. I just wanted to confirm that you were talking about that cost section and how the cost was based on what you're paying your staff per hour. And correct me if I'm wrong, we would do that back in the managed staff area on the person's specific staff details pages where you put in their hourly cost to you, correct?
Absolutely, yes. So there
Perfect.
is a field in the staff details page that's called staff hourly wage. Um, that is basically the physical cost of paying your employee by an hourly basis. And when you set up your expenses in the administrative module, there is a field called expense cost. So that's where this information is pulled from and calculated.
Perfect. Thank you, Omar.
No problem. Okay, if there aren't any questions, we'll move on to the jobs by company summary. So the jobs by company summary gives you kind of a really good outlook on your top 5 performers or contenders. So, the top 5 companies that you do a lot of business with. It gives you an idea of the kind of the budget versus how much time your staff are tracking. So kind of like the health of the job itself or the health of the company. You always want to make sure that any company you do business with, you can profit from them as much as you can. So this gives you a good idea of your top 5 contenders in your system. So for example, my top contender is Great Atlantic Insurance. And you'll see that the bars are color-coded. And the blue represents any job that's within budget. So when I say within budget, it means any hours I've estimated for, any dollar amounts I've estimated for are within budget. So for example, if I estimated a job for $5,000, and so far my staff have tracked about let's say $2,000 worth of work, and I have another $500 in expenses, I'm totally within budget. The next color code is the kind of teal color, which means I'm just within 80% of my budget. So that's kind of a little warning sign. Say, hey, you're getting really close. How far are you into the job with this company? Kind of gives you a rough idea of how you want to kind of let your staff know, hey guys, we're really close to be going over budget with this job or with this company, so watch yourselves. And red obviously is the over budget, so this job's actuals amounts have exceeded the estimate. So this is again a warning sign to let you know that, hey, we're over budget on these jobs or on this company. We may need to estimate more, we may need to bill more, etc. Like the other KPIs I've said before, you can specify different filters, and in this case, you can specify which clients, or all jobs or my jobs. So jobs that are defined as yours are where you are the account executive or a job contact. All jobs are basically just all jobs in the system. There's no restriction there. And the custom selection is you get to actually specify up to 5 companies that you want to take a look at. And lastly, the percent budget is kind of the threshold for your budget. So you want the graph to be color coded if the company that you're doing a job for is within 50% of the budget. So it's really just there to kind of give you a heads up of how close you are to becoming over budget or within budget. Any questions about that?
No, not so far, but thank you.
No problem. I think we have one question.
Yeah, I was able to answer that one,
Okay,
but thank
great.
you.
No problem at all. All right. So if there aren't any questions about that, I guess we'll move on to the last tile here, which is called the job summary KPI. Now, with this KPI, it works very similarly to the jobs by company summary, but this is more on a job basis instead of all your companies. This gives you just a quick look at the number of jobs that are on the go, really. I mean, this is great for any kind of agency owner or project managers that or traffic managers that just want to know, hey, how many jobs are we working on? What's due? What's late? So with this one in particular, it tells you how many jobs are currently set in the status of open or completed. Now, a lot of people use custom job statuses. So if you set the alias to open on that custom job status, that will be included as well. It doesn't discriminate against those. Due is considered any jobs with a delivery date within 7 days of today will be considered due. So you may need to step up your game to get it done. Lastly, late is considered where today's date is past the delivery date. So that lets you know that this job is due. Again, like the jobs by company summary, everything is color-coded. They follow the same convention. If it's blue, it means it's within. So the jobs are within budget. Next, the teal color is the budget is 80% within budget, and the red is over budget. Now, I did fail to mention with the other KPIs that if you actually physically click on the graph, it'll actually take you to a list that tells you, hey, these jobs for this company are, within budget or over budget. So, instead of simply being, a pretty picture on the screen, it actually gives you the ability to kind of drill down into more detail. So, for example, if I want to look at the 22 jobs that are within budget and get an idea about them, if you click on it, it'll just simply transfer you to a list, similar to the job find page, where the jobs are accessible at any time. I'm just going to go back. And again, you are able to filter this tile as you see fit. You can specify all jobs or my jobs, and you can define the kind of the percent budget threshold when you want to kind of be warned as to when a job is within 50% of the budget, so that you can make additional plans to step up your game to make sure that the job gets finished on time for the client. Okay, great. Any questions about that?
No questions about that, but that's great because I was going to say, hey, can you show us how we can click in and see list views of really almost everything on these tiles, which is pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely. The majority of them are, you can click on them and they'll generate a list. Like I said, instead of being simply a pretty picture on the screen, it gives you the flexibility to go into further detail if you so choose, and it will transfer you to the list view page where you can actually go in and select the job that you want to learn more about. So, for example, if I want to look at this late job by Great Atlantic Insurance, it brings me to the job details page, and then from there I can make further adjustments to the job if see fit. Okay, great. So that was the KPI Alpha template that had 4 of those KPIs. So we'll move on to the next one, which has the timesheet summary and the task time summary KPI. So the timesheet summary is my personal favorite. It's a great way to keep your staff honest with respect to how they track time and how often. Do they even bother to track time in the system? This gives them the flexibility, as well as project managers or even owners or anyone who wants to have an idea of how honest are your staff with tracking time. Instead of them simply telling you, hey, I tracked my time today, you can actually go in and check on them. It's a great tool just to kind of look at how are we doing with time, are our staff actually tracking time, etc. Now with this, it works a little differently than the other KPIs I showed you. This one kind of breaks it out by billable, non-billable, and target. Now billable work is defined in function point as a job that has a billing status or a billable status of billable, and any service that your staff track time to has a non-zero rate. So if the rate on the service is $100 an hour and the job is billable, then that work is considered billable. And non-billable is a little tricky. So keep in mind, non-billable work can either be defined as a service or an internal service that your staff would track time to, but it has a $0 rate. So it's considered non-billable. But there could be situations where, and I'm not trying to confuse anyone here, where the job itself is billable, but the service is non-billable. That work is considered non-billable. But there's also something called the trump card situation, where if the job itself is non-billable, any work that is tracked to that job is considered non-billable, even if it has a rate. I just want to check in with that because that's a little tricky to remember that.
No, I think you said that really well, and I will certainly let you know if we get questions about that. We can certainly reiterate that, and I know
Okay.
there are places in the system that's in writing, but no, I think you said that very well, myself
Okay,
anyway.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, if you guys have questions, please forward them, because that I was a little concerned about that explanation because it is a little confusing about what's considered billable, non-billable. So as you can see here, oh, and I forgot to mention, the target is basically controlled to the work calendar. So, for example, in a week, you would typically work 40 hours. So in that 40 hours, theoretically, your staff should track 40 hours. Now, depending on how your agency operates, 80% of that work can be billable, 20% non-billable, etc. But this information is controlled through the work calendar, which is available in the administrative module under Admin, System Setup, and Work Calendar, under Work Calendar. So from here is where you would actually define you would outline, how many hours does your staff work on a week or a daily basis, and that would feed into the timesheet summary KPI. So going back to the dashboard here. So for example, this month to date, I should be tracking 75 hours. So far, I've only tracked 72 hours, and of those 72 hours that I've tracked, 58 hours are billable. Remember, billable is work that's defined as a non-zero rate on the service, and the job itself is billable. And I've tracked 14 hours that are non-billable. And again, non-billable work is work that has a $0 rate attached to it, or the job itself is non-billable. So in total, it does the calculation for you. I have 72 hours tracked so far for this month to date. And again, like all KPIs, you can filter this as you see fit. You can specify a staff member, a role, or all staff, and a date range to see where the timesheets are coming from. And the date range is controlled through the work date. So when you track time, there is a work date field where you can specify when this time technically applies to. And also, just as an aside, keep in mind that if you do not have the permission in Function Point to view other people's timesheets, you will only be able to see your own information. So just keep that in mind. The KPIs are controlled through a permission structure. If need be, I will gladly go back and kind of explain what permissions you need to access the different KPIs, but they are controlled through permissions, so keep that in mind. Any questions about that?
No, very cool. Well said too. I know that's come up from other clients we've spoken to, like, oh, wait a second, what if I'm not supposed to see that? And the permissions are working really well there. So yeah, if you're not supposed to see something elsewhere in the system, you certainly aren't going to see it in a dashboard KPI.
That's correct. Well input. Okay, excellent. So the next one is the task and time summary. This one operates very similarly to the job summary, where it gives you like a really good summary of an overview of how well your tasks are doing, like what's on the go, what's open, what's due, what's late, etc. Instead of doing a task find, the menial process doing task find task, the information is right there on your dashboard at all times. This is a simplified version of the task to-dos. It gives you kind of a nice little number and a visual representation of tasks that are on the go and what's due. And like all the KPIs, they are color-coded accordingly. So the 100% within estimate, it means all 6 of my tasks are within the estimated hours. So for example, if I assigned a task to Jeremy and I said 5 hours, and he's only put 3 hours in so far, he is within the estimated amount. As long as he doesn't go over those 5 hours, he's good. Now the teal color is the 80% estimate. So basically that means that depending on what you put in, so for example, if I estimated 10 hours to Jeremy and he's put 9 in, he's past that threshold. So there will be a task there that says, hey, this is past 80% threshold. So he's getting a little close to being overestimated or overdue on the task. And the last one, the red, is overestimated. So any time I put against that task, it exceeds the estimate amount. So if someone assigned me a task for 5 hours and I put 15 hours, I'm way overestimated. So I need to be careful there. And again, these ones, if you click on them, they will take you to the tasks accordingly. So the 6 tasks that are currently open, or they are within estimated, are available on the find page or the list view when you click on them. And again, like all KPIs, you can change the filter. So you can specify the tasks that you see there are controlled through the kind of the status of the tasks. So assigned to me, assigned to my role, assigned by me, assigned by /to me, and all staff. And again, the percent threshold can be modified if you want to be notified. And when I say notified, I mean it'll be categorized as within or past 50%, past 60%. If you want to kind of filter out certain tasks that are exceeding a threshold, where you want to be careful and just watch them a little closely to make sure your staff don't go crazy on those tasks. Okay. Any questions about that?
Let me see what I've got for you here. Just responding to a couple. Let's see if I've got one that's but that's suitable. Yes, I think we've got a good one. Sarah has asked if there is a way to filter that task time summary by specific employee, and I'm quite sure there is, if you wouldn't mind showing that.
Okay, so in this case, you can't really specify an
Oh,
exact employee.
my
You
apologies,
can,
Omar. I didn't mean to
no
steer you
problem at
wrong
all.
there.
No problem at all. You can specify all staff members, or you can specify statuses that are relevant to you. So assigned by me, assigned to me, and assigned to my role. The alternative to using the task time summary is using the task to-dos, where you can specify a staff member. So for example, if you go to tasks and go to task to-dos, it will let you select the staff member. I mean, it's not quite as pretty as the KPI, but it will give you the exact information you need. It'll give you a list of all tasks and how they're doing with respect to, how close are they to being over budget, and the information on the task that you can drill in further if you so choose. Does that answer the question, I hope?
I think it does. Sarah, let us know if that doesn't fully address the question, and thanks, Omar, for showing that. Excellent. No, feel free to keep going.
Okay, excellent. So the next one is also one of my favorites and this one is actually really helpful to just kind of the job health in general. This is the job summary page, which is now the landing page for the job details page. I mean, this gives you kind of a great overview of all the job or all information that you can find on a job right in front of you at all times without the need to kind of drill down further. It gives you kind of job statistics on contacts, emails, notes that you can actually go in and click, and it'll generate the list for you to drill down further. The number of tasks, what's in draft, what's open, what's done, the profit, the overview of schedules, the timesheets, the health of the job itself, which is defined by estimated values and actuals. And I must reiterate, this is really important and this is something that I firmly believe in, that you really should build out your estimates. I mean, the best way to make use of these KPIs is if your staff track time. If you really put in the effort to build out your estimates, to make them as detailed as you can, to make them as understandable as you can, you'll get the most out of these KPIs. Because keep in mind, these KPIs report on the information that you put in the system. So if you want to get the most information out of them, I strongly, strongly recommend that you put in as much effort as you can into those estimates and jobs to really just reap in the value of the KPIs, to get kind of the best understanding of how your staff are doing, the best understanding of how healthy your jobs are, and just how profitable you are in general, and how efficient your staff are. This information is not possible if you simply kind of go light on the estimate. I mean, just try your best to really build out those estimates if you can. You'll get the most value out of these statistics and KPIs if you do. Okay, so I'm going to step down from my soapbox and go back to this. So for kind of the 4 icons you see here under estimate, context, and emails and notes, these kind of just give you an idea of, what's the status of the estimate? Oh, the status is approved. How many contacts are there on the job? Okay, there are 8 contacts. How many emails? Now, emails with our email integration basically is any emails that were sent to function point, so integrated into function point with the category of email. And notes are just basically general notes in the system that are associated to this job. So for example, 30179. Again, if you click on these icons, it will take you to the list of 20 notes, or the list of emails, or the list of contacts that are associated to this job. Were there any questions about those 4?
Nothing as yet, but everyone do feel free to type something in if you've got something. I love this summary tab, though. I'm such a fan of this.
Yeah, the dev team did an amazing job with this. I think probably one of the best updates we've had in a long time. Really, really useful in general. So the next section is the tasks. Now, the tasks you see here are basically the tasks that have been directly associated to this particular job. So it gives you an idea of how many tasks you have. So there are so far 20 tasks in this job. How many are in the draft phase? Now, drafts are kind of a little hidden gem in the system. They are considered draft as in that they're still pending. That means the details haven't been completely flushed into the task yet. So a good idea is just to put a task in draft phase if you think you're going to revisit it before you actually assign it to somebody. Now, the one here is the open. So open is defined as a task that has the status of assigned or in progress. So assigned is the task has been assigned to the individual, or the job or the task is in progress means it basically tells you, oh, hey, this person's working on this task that's assigned. And 15 are basically the done, or jobs that have been, tasks that have been completed or confirmed. So they've been marked, completed, or confirmed by the person who's assigned the task or who the assignee is. Any questions about that section?
Not as yet, but thank you for checking in.
No problem. So the next one is the profit. This is very similar to the profit KPI I showed you a couple minutes ago. but it's only relevant to this job in particular. So it gives you the invoiced amount, so that comes from the invoices. The cost, remember, cost is not your actuals. It's the staff cost, so the physical staff cost and the expense cost calculated together into that number, and the variance is your profit, technically, because it is the invoice minus the cost. So far in this job, I've been very profitable. So I've invoiced the client $25,000, and it's only cost me just under $7,000, which is great. So we're living the American dream right there. So health is the next part, which is your estimate versus your actuals. So this is your actual timesheets and expenses that you've put in the system and plan on billing the client. So your estimated amounts come from your estimates. So anything that you've actually built here, so let's go to the latest revision. So we have all our services and all the actual values. So right here, $3,200, $480, etc. Those all get calculated together, and they come up with the estimated amounts. And your actuals are all your timesheets and all your expenses that you've put in. And again, the variance is your estimate minus your actuals. So as you can see here, I'm over budget on this particular job. So I've actually incurred more costs than I originally planned on or estimated or budgeted against. Any questions about that?
No, we are question free on that for now. Thank you.
Okay, great. And the second last one is the time and task overview. Now, the time and task overview is kind of a combination of your estimates and schedule if you use schedules in function point. So, for example, in this particular job, I've estimated 192 hours in total. I've tasked out through schedules or individual tasks 190.5 hours. Lastly, it gives you kind of an idea of what was considered billable. So any tasks that you've done that had a service that was considered billable or non-billable, it kind of gives you a nice graph as well as numbers that tells me that, all the hours that I've tasked out were billable and not non-billable. So there were 192.5 hours that were billable, and 0 hours of those tasks were 0 hours of those tasks were non-billable. So really, this particular, KPI section is really useful if you if you use function point for tasking and schedules. So I strongly recommend you explore that option to get the most out of it. And lastly, this was kind of a job-specific version of the timesheet summary KPI, but it's only relevant to this particular job. Now, with the other KPI, you cannot narrow down by job because it was put into the job summary module. So this one lets you kind of have a good idea of your staff's timesheets and how they track time to this particular job. So all the time that's been tracked to this particular job has been billable, and the target hours is your estimate. So it's is your estimated value. So it's 190.5 hours have been tasked out, and all the time has been tracked to it. So again, this gives you kind of a good idea if your staff are going overboard on tracking time to jobs. So it kind of gives you kind of a first response to say, hey, you guys are going overboard on these time. You need to calm down on the task there. And the subsection to that is kind of the task summary KPI, where it gives you an idea of how many tasks are on the go for all staff. And again, like all KPIs, you can narrow it down. In this particular case, you can specify all staff, a specific role, or a specific staff member, assuming they are associated to this particular job. And the information will update as necessary. So for example, I've been a little lazy on this job. I haven't put any work to it, so I'll definitely get in trouble. Have been any questions about that?
Yeah, we had a good one come in from Lindsay that I hope you can answer. She's asking what the difference is between cost in profit and actuals in health.
Okay, no, that's a great question.
Phew.
So, oh no, it's no problem at all. With respect to profit, the cost in function point is defined as your staff cost, so the physical cost of the staff, so how much you pay them on an hourly basis. So for example, that information is provided under the admin, rate and staff management, and manage staff, staff rate, staff permissions. So I'm going to just quickly navigate there. So we'll click on my name. So as you can see here, this field is what gets included in the calculation. So it costs For example, $25 for me to do the work. So that's how much my salary is on an hourly basis. And now for expenses, that is defined under the admin, managed services and expenses, and external expenses. So for example, I'll click on copywriting. Oh, my mistake here. Sorry, guys. Oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So with expenses, there are specific fields that you would specify a cost for expenses. And as you can see, our medium scan is $6. So that's the physical cost I would incur when utilizing medium scans. And again, your staff are under their specific staff details page. So for example, like I said before, I'm $25, and all that information gets pulled together, and that gets calculated to generate that financial figure you see on the job summary page. And that information is then used to calculate the variance, which is your profit. So all the money you've invoiced the client minus the cost you've incurred equals the variance, which is your profit. And the health KPI is all your estimated dollars. So all the money that you've estimated the client for, and the actuals is basically all your timesheets and all your expenses, like the billable expenses. Not the actual cost of the expenses, but how much you've like marked up or how much you've specified here under admin, rate and staff management, apply rates to services. So basically the markup or the rate of your expenses, internal expenses, and your internal services. So that information then affects the actuals. And then if you do the calculation, that gives you the variance, which is the health of the job. So you always want to make sure that your actuals are below your estimate. Any questions about that?
No, that's very cool, Omar. Thank you for answering that. And Lindsay, hopefully that's answered your question. Just let us know if you need more clarification on that. We're at 22. Was there, no, I'm not rushing you. Was there other stuff you wanted to show us while you've got everyone here?
Yeah, sure. There is one more KPI. I was hoping I'd have time to show this one.
Yeah, please.
So this one is called the conversation KPI. This one is for emails and notes. So if you utilize the email integration function point, this will be a great little KPI to have on your dashboard. Just customize it, get it. Okay, great. So the conversation KPI kind of gives you kind of just a summary of all the notes you have in your system that are either emails or just pinned notes. So we do have not a KPI. So we do have a template or a tile that lets you have your pinned notes available to you at all times. But this one kind of just summarizes it for you, so you don't actually have to can it out. Oops. Sorry about that. Pinned notes. There it is. So I'll just do a quick comparison between the two. There we go. So we do have, kind of the classic, the tile for your pinned notes, where you can actually go in and kind of take a look at your notes that are kind of relevant to you, what have been pinned. But the pinned notes don't actually cover emails. The conversation KPI covers emails. So any notes that were generated from integrated emails that have the category of email are flagged as recent emails or emails that have come in recently. Again, like all KPIs, you can click in and get the actual list of notes that were either flagged as emails or were integrated as emails into function point. And your pin notes, again, are notes that have been created or you've created yourself, that you've pinned yourself or somebody else, so that they can see it on their dashboard anytime they load up function point. And again, if you click in, you'll be able to generate the exact list of all notes that have been pinned to your dashboard. And like all other KPIs, you can filter this further. So for example, I selected all staff. I only want to see conversations that are relevant to my role, for example, or myself. So I'll click on my name. So I've got 4 emails that I'm attached to and 5 pin notes that have been pinned to my dashboard. Great. Were there any questions about the conversation KPI?
No, that's a cool one. I think that's I'm glad you showed that one. I know both you and I, before we started today, I don't think either of us have a ton of clients that are necessarily using that one, but it's a good one to know that it is here. And what I love with the dashboards is it's just so quick to switch between them. You can really
Yes.
create all kinds and just toggle between them. You don't have to pick one. You don't have to sort of have a favorite. You can really easily toggle between them as you've been showing us so well today.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no limit on how many like different combinations. There's like hundreds and thousands of different combinations of kind of dashboard layouts that you can do. So go crazy, have fun. There's no limit. So definitely use as many of the dashboard layouts as you can, just to get all the information possible available literally at your fingertips. Instead of having to look around the system for that information, it's all available right on your dashboard at any time.
So, so cool. Well, thanks so much, Omar. Was there anything, not trying to rush you. Was there anything else you wanted to show us, or should we sort of open the floor up for questions now, you think?
No, I think I've covered everything. I mean, I would
Yeah.
be more than happy to take any questions you guys might have.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. We haven't had any lately, but we've had some good ones. So thanks everyone who has been asking questions. Most of what Omar has reviewed today, we do have documented. We do have a couple of documents regarding the KPIs, explaining what each of them is and does. And if anyone does get stuck, of course, be encouraged to reach out to our support team, to your onboarding consultant, to me. Let's see. Oh, we've got one in from Doug. Let's see what Doug is asking. Um, Hmm. Yeah, Doug's got a good question here. Perhaps, Omar, you wouldn't mind going back and showing the tile that shows
Oh,
us the job one that is indicating when jobs are going over budget.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
perfect. Okay, thanks.
So there's kind of 2 ways to look at this. You can look at the company. So you want to see the jobs that are over budget at the company level. So which companies you always find yourself, we're doing so much extra work for them and we're always going over budget. These are kind of the problem types. Now, in your case, Doug, it's the job summary KPI is the best one to use. This one will give you the exact number of jobs that are flagged as over budget. And so when I say flagged, I mean the actual values that have been put against the job exceed the estimate amount. So this is where I see it's always important to build out your estimates so you get the most information out of these KPIs.
Awesome. Well, Doug is telling us thank you, so that is perfect, and we're glad that we had the opportunity to re-review that. Again, the session has been recorded. If anyone wants to, listen to this again later or share it with team members, we are coming up for about 1:45, so we want to not keep people too much longer. What I'll do, Omar, I am going to take away your presenter status. I hope you don't mind. You
All
can
right.
go back to whatever crazy screensaver you might have shortly, so bear with me here. I'm just going to make myself the presenter. Okay, and so everyone should be just seeing my Visit Health FP help screen. And you can just confirm that, Omar, that I'm not
Yeah,
sharing
I can
my
see it.
no one needs to see my inbox. So I'm just going to share a couple of screens with everyone before we let you go for the day. So please do visit the FP Help site from your function point system. Up in the top nav bar, you will see Help. If you hover over that, you can pick training, you can pick community forum, you can choose to contact our support team directly. So please do use those resources. Community forum, we really do want to encourage people to sign up and be a part of. It's a spot where you can communicate with other FP users, submit feature requests, answer questions from other FP users, and be always in the loop on the latest and greatest documents and resources that are going on. This is kind of a momentous occasion, Omar. This is the last session in our AHA series that has been going on for several weeks. We've had lots of cool presenters. I've been happy to co-pilot on everybody's, but it's been neat to have some different voices going on, yourself included, Omar, and you did really well today. That was great. So thank you for that. So there isn't any session next week, but we are actively figuring out what our next series should be about. If anyone has ideas, things that they would like to see a webinar on, please just drop me a message, Emma at functionpoint.com. Always welcome to drop me a line if you have ideas, product suggestions, feature requests. That can be done through the community forum, of course, but you can just reach out to me, and any ideas for future webinars. We'd love to get your feedback on that. So what we'll do is we'll stop recording and we'll stop talking. I'll leave the session open though for probably another 10 minutes. And if people want to type questions in, we'll keep answering those. And of course, anything you need after that, just community forum support, myself, the other resources will be available. And this session will be posted later today. Excellent. Along with our cheat sheet, which we didn't show anybody, but that's okay. Our cheat sheet will be up later today. It's a nice little handy document. Actually, let's see if I can get that for us while we're here. KPI dashboard cheat sheet. Let me just drag that over. So everyone, this will be available later today on our community help site, and you will be getting sent this via email with the follow-up session. It's just a nice little cute thing, print up with sort of some handy dandy reminders as to what Omar has reviewed today. So hope everyone will print that, keep it handy, and enjoy using it. Excellent. All right, Omar. Well, thank you again. And thanks to everyone for attending, and look forward to seeing you on our next series. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.